Let us know where you're watching from, and Merry Christmas Eve, guys. Dan's got his elf hat on. He's wrapping gifts.
And I'm really good at it.
After he wrapped his first gift, he's like, "There's gift bags here." I didn't want to tell him though because it was so entertaining. Totally,
Yeah.
totally entertaining. All right, guys. Today we're going to be talking about your donkey's feet, and not just their feet, but so many donkeys are, they're like internal processors, and that really affects what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, before we start though, I know on these cold, short days, it can be hard to stay motivated and get yourself out there with your donkeys. So what did you guys do with your donkeys today? Did you go out there? Did you love on them, work with them, train them? Did you just feed them today, right? Like, it could be busy. It's
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
It is busy. Yeah. It's hard to
Yeah.
find a minute to go work with critters this time of the year, but it's so important to stay motivated, and you'll be glad that you did.
Totally. So if you guys find it challenging to stay focused on getting training done with the animals while it is cold and short days out, write in the comments, like, what are you doing to help yourself move past that part? But here's the thing, even in the wintertime, every moment that we're spending with our donkeys, it counts. Whether we're trying to or not, we are communicating and training them, and they learn so darn fast.
Gosh, they learn fast. Yeah.
So today I want to share something that might change how you see your farriers work forever, especially if you're working with an internal processor. And it's not just donkeys that process internally. Not all horses do, but some of them definitely do.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you've ever felt frustrated because your horse or your donkey, your mule won't stand still for the farrier, and you just think that they're stubborn, mindset might be the key part that we're missing. So winter or not, training is about patience, consistency, and mindset. Yours and theirs. It's not one-sided. This goes both ways. Totally.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now remember that the slow progress that we're making, even when it feels like there's nothing really happening, it is still progress. Dan and I talked about that just before we started the school live.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I want you to go touch this one because I think she's ready.
Yeah. I didn't get as far as I wanted to. I'm like, well, maybe the donkey thinks I'm a jerk. Really, I'm just got too high of expectations. So.
I'm like, is she eating 10 bites from your hand per minute? He's like, 7. She's
7.
doing 7.
She's only eating 7 bites per minute. I can't get her to go any faster. What am I doing wrong?
I'm like, you just gotta keep working at that part. So the slow progress we're doing with them, it's really helping them get coping skills, which is like the key to everything that we're going to be doing with them later on. And it's, whether it's us working with them or strangers, because donkeys really do have a stranger danger.
Yes.
We're going to jump into 7 different things that internal processing is affecting with our donkeys. And we'll talk a little bit about how those different things affect what we're doing. And I think this is going to help shed some light on things.
This is in relation to the feet, right?
Yeah, relation to the feet for our topic. And internal processing, people, donkeys get a bad rap. I hear people all the time, farriers won't work on my donkeys.
Yes, I hear that all the time. That's my little rant. I've run across, and I know of farriers who they grimace or just say no. It seems in more so in the donkey world than any other world, the people seem to think it's the farrier's job to teach the donkey to lift its feet sanely and calmly. Guys, it is not your farrier's job to train your donkey to pick up its feet. We as equine owners must have that animal comfortable and ready to pick up its feet, even to a stranger, before they come on out for the first trim or again, I can't stress it enough.
But here's the thing, we didn't always know what to do to
Right.
get them comfortable to picking up their feet. So maybe you don't know what to do either.
Right. So she's got the recipe here for you how to do that. But what I have to add is, I'll say it one last time, it is not your farrier's job to teach your donkey to pick up its feet.
I agree with that 100%. So the very first one, and I have notes, you guys, because, I'm type A personality, right? So my notes. So quiet and thoughtful processing. When your donkey is processing, if we are like moving a lot or talking a lot or our voice is changing, before the donkey is like 100% confident in all situations with having their feet handled, we're probably pushing too much.
Yeah.
Like with Seamus, you could do whatever you want. He doesn't care.
Right.
But these new wild donkeys, or when we've taken on a rescue, they do. Everything around matters. And it doesn't matter, like it could seem like it's in the next county.
Right.
So internal processors, they don't react right away. They think deeply before acting. So what looks like stubbornness might just be them carefully weighing out what's going on. So if you notice your donkey or your horse pausing and thinking before responding, what does it look like for you if you're noticing that? What do you notice when they're thinking, the pausing and responding?
Well, for me, sometimes it's hard to tell if they're thinking or locked up.
That can be very hard to tell.
Thinking would be I still see some eye movement. Maybe they're still chewing a handful of oats. Their ears are alert and looking around. Because I oftentimes have to stop. Well, did I just break that donkey and put it in freeze mode, or are we processing? And so I still struggle with that.
And it's such small things like a blink, leaning away, and I'm talking just the slightest amount leaning away or towards us. You know, when they're thinking, they're still moving, but if they're frozen, you're probably not going to see even 1 foot up. Like, you know how sometimes they'll kind of tilt their foot up a little bit? When they're frozen, they're probably going to have all 4 feet more locked in, like they're part of the ground. Delayed response to pressure. Sometimes they take longer to respond to cues or discomfort. They need time to work through the experience mentally before moving. So being patient and waiting. The delayed response to pressure, I swear when I'm teaching them, I feel like I'm waiting for 5 minutes, and I really might be sometimes.
It feels like an eternity. Yeah, and sometimes it is 5 minutes.
Now, sometimes we can get those responses quicker when we can notice and release the pressure because they leaned away 1/8 of an inch. And when I'm like one that I was working on today, I thought I was going to use the long stick and start making a silhouette of its body. But that was too big of a question. So then I got where I was just getting it to look at me, and then I had to be on the opposite end or like edge of the pen as it. And so then we were starting to make a little bit of progress. So then I upped it a little bit, and anytime it looked away, I would take a step towards it. But here's the big part, and this is where we're going to relate it back to the feet. When I would take some steps towards it and it looked at me, to release the pressure big, I would walk away as far as I could get from it. And when I could make it so obvious that even a kindergartner could see that they got the right answer, then that donkey was like, oh, I'm starting to get it.
Yep.
So when you're dealing with the feet, you could be walking away. We use pay a lot. So we're using like rolled or crimped oats, low starch grain, or alfalfa pellets. And part of the reason I like using the pay so much is when they're really nervous, they're going to do a couple different things. So if they're like typically like taking it really softly with their lips, they're calm. But if they start to get their teeth involved, they're nervous, and then they're really nervous when they start to they stop eating.
You can tell you're working on a product like this is common when we're working with feet in the beginning as a 2-person team. We got the odor and the footer. The odor communicates to the footer who's lifting up the feet if we're gently taking that food, or if we're feeling teeth. Oh, she's getting chompy. And so if it's whoever's working with the feet knows that they need to back off at that point, because it's a real good barometer where the donkey's mentality's at.
And I got us off a little bit of topic. So this point number 2 was delayed response to pressure. So I guess the food does tie into that, because they could be chewing and then they stop chewing. So I think that's where I was connecting in the delayed response. And when their responses are really delayed, every little tiny thing that they do that says that they're trying to think through the question, releasing the pressure. And I don't think we always walk away from them when we're releasing the pressure, because at this point they're pretty comfortable standing next to us.
Yes, the walking away, that's here early on in a gentling stage.
Right. But once we're on their feet, It's just moving away from whatever was scary. So, like with the countdown, we always start with the countdown, typically with a long brush, right? But it's 5, 4, 3, 2. Now, if I get here and he starts to lean away, I'm not going to release all of that pressure. I'm going to go back up to here where he was okay. Okay. So, when they're delayed, give them more time, give them time to think. I still don't feel like I'm answering that one very well. Like I had it thought out earlier in my head better than I do now.
Well, you came out pretty good, and sometimes it sounds better before you say it than you say it. And it's like, why did I say that? It made sense to me.
But be patient because they do have delays when they're thinking about something. They're not like a horse. Like when we're working with a horse, boy, they'll give us like all 4 feet. Like, is it this one? No, is it this one? Is it this one? But a donkey won't. They'll stand there and just wait and think, and then they give you the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Point number 3 is overwhelmed from too much stimulation.
This is one of my favorite ones.
Well, I'll have you go on this
Well,
one.
I love it. During the gentling process. Now, we're not talking about tricks or saddle riding or anything like that. This is gentling. We're like working on first touch. And oftentimes it's, will you eat while I'm still in the pen with you? Will you eat those oats in the dish 10 feet from me? And usually it's about when you get about that 10-foot mark. And the first time they come to about 10 feet, you know, they're all cautious and they're sneaking on up there. And they'll stick their head down and they start nibbling on those oats. And you can almost hear them going, this is so good. I can't get this in the wild. Then suddenly it'll occur to them that they're standing 10 feet from my predator and they're overwhelmed. Right then, they're overwhelmed. And they have to go walk it off. They will go walk either in a circle and relieve that pressure themselves, and they get overwhelmed. They have to go walk it off. And early on, they might go walk it off, but it might take them 2 or 3 minutes to come back around and even look at you. So that's when I laughed when I talked about overwhelmed donkeys. It's fun watching them be gone for a shorter period of time each time. And pretty soon, you got the dish of oats 3 feet away, and they look up and see you and only back up a foot, or they don't back up at all. It's really fun watching it overwhelmed sensation disappear.
And I guess I would really recommend that people pay attention to it. So let's say you're working with their feet, they start to get overwhelmed, they need to go walk it off. It's okay, let them walk it off.
Yes.
Because actually, that's when they start to process what just happened. And if we stop them from processing what happened then, they're going to be stuck in an uncomfortable feeling.
Yes, and in regards to the feet, them going to walk it off is your ally. They're processing. They might blow. They'll lick and chew while they're walking, and that donkey, it will come back to you if you're patient enough and you're not pressed for time. It will come back to the party, and now its mind is in a little better spot than it was when it went on that walkabout. They had time to process and think, and you didn't throw a spear at them, and they're safe, and everything's calm.
And it's going to feel delayed because they might need, at the very beginning, a few minutes. And then as they keep needing to walk things off, it'll just be like as fast as they can walk in a circle back to you. Eventually, it does get to be that. Overwhelmed from too much stimulation when you're working with your farrier. We have a farrier that brings his dogs out, and sometimes they're more than one, and they are really well-trained dogs and everything. But we had one day where it was a rescue donkey, kicked our farrier, kicked the snot out of him. And I remember noticing that donkey was very concerned about the dogs.
Right.
I had picked up his feet right before the farrier was. But all of a sudden, he went from being soft and light to nervous. And so that stimulation, your donkey's not used to, or your horse, mule, not used to the farrier. And they come up and they rub them. And when they come up and rub them, because they're trying to make friends, right? Which is great. But when they come up, they don't notice that the animal leaned away a tad.
Right.
That's not welcomed at that moment by your equine. And then the dogs, we need to do a good job at advocating for our donkey if there's too much stimulation. And I guess even for our farrier, right? We don't want our farrier to get hurt. We don't want the donkey to have a negative experience. So we need to advocate for what we notice. It's like, wow, there's a lot of stimulation.
Absolutely. And you're your donkey's manager at game time, and you're playing the farrier. This is if you're any farriers on here, I'm not designed to hurt your feelings. Um, Help the farrier look out for what's going on. You know your donkey better than the farrier does. If you see signs, things are cruising along, but you're seeing signs that if we continue at this pace and don't change it up, there's going to be a problem. You must inform your farrier, hey, can we just change this up just a little bit, or let's take a 5 minute break. Give this donkey a break. I'm seeing some signs, and sometimes, most of the time, these poop shows and getting kicked and bad experiences, there was evidence to see. There were signs, and I'm learned from the
From our
past.
mistakes.
Yeah, learned. Since you unfortunately learned from doing things the wrong way. There's always signs, and watch for them. Your farrier don't know your donkey.
And your farrier does know feet, right? Your farrier
Yeah.
knows how to trim them, what angles they need to be at, all that stuff. And they're good. They're great resources. On that situation, though, where our farrier got kicked, I really wish I would have advocated for what I was noticing instead of just saying, oh, our farrier is great. I don't have to worry, right? It'll be fine.
Now here's an example of what a recent interdiction was farrier. Last time we got a lot of critters here, and we trim the wilds ourselves because we're not riding them. But our riding stock, we do have a farrier come out.
We're still learning to trim.
Yeah, so I mean, we can get it done, but it's not pretty. But Holler, our juvenile delinquent mammoth donkey, who's going to be 3 this spring, has been pretty good with getting her feet handled and trimmed.
Excellent. She's been excellent with us.
But we have never exposed her to the stand. We've never done that. And the farrier's assistant, I asked him, so well, just go ahead and hold the foot when you rasp those edges. And he's like, well, no, I'll use the farrier stand. I'm like, she's never been introduced to the farrier stand. Well, she's going to have to be introduced to it at some point. Well, that's my valuable donkey. It will be introduced to it on my terms, the way I want it to be, not by someone who's getting paid by the foot. So I'm like, no, I had to be firm and direct, and he backed down. That he would just go ahead and rasp off those edges while holding the foot, because it wouldn't be unfair to Holler to expect this young juvenile delinquent mammoth donkey kid to behave.
So we have a farrier stand that we can practice putting their feet up on the farrier stand, but not everybody does. So I think that if you don't find something, because it really doesn't matter what you're putting their foot up onto. It's getting used to you being bent over in front of them or beside them. It's the different motions that you're having their foot go. And we want to introduce every one of these things into such baby sequence so that they are comfortable. And we don't want that to be learned just with the farrier. We have to teach them.
Exactly. So in the farrier's defense, we should have introduced the stand a long time ago. But reality is, we're just getting to where we can pick up her feet. So we're teaching her to walk. We can't ask her to run yet. And sometimes your farrier doesn't understand that training process. So obviously, yeah, the goal is you get to where your critter can put her foot on the farrier stand. And they can do a nice raspy edge when they're all done there, so it looks all nice. Yeah, you want to get there. But at some point, if you have a young or a new donkey, you're going to have a trim before they're ready for a farrier stand. And just advocate for your donkey. Make sure that farrier knows and understands and will not force the issue.
And with that topic, trigger stacking is something we've talked about some. That's not our idea. That's another trainer that came up with that. But, like if your donkey's not used to strangers or other, whatever, the farrier coming out. So now you have the farriers new, and then maybe they smell different. That's a second trigger. And maybe they have their dog with, there's a third trigger. And now you're going to ask them to put their foot out front for the farrier stand. And maybe that's too many triggers. Maybe right now they can only hold three rabbits, but the farrier stand would be a fourth. So
Yeah.
go slow.
And I give you guys, if you're, we like Warwick Schiller, someone on a snowy Saturday night, and we just want to be lazy and we want to fire up YouTube. He goes into great detail about trigger stacking. So just Google yourself some Warwick Schiller or YouTube it, and look for something about trigger stacking. It's fascinating. That guy is really sharp when it comes to the psychology of equines and making it easy for a human to understand, or a human like me to understand.
So now when we're giving them too much stimulation, too many triggers, we're going to cause them to shut down. And once they shut down, it's really hard to have them cooperate. Like, because they can't cooperate and be shut down. And remember, this goes for horses, mules, and donkeys, right? Donkeys are the most common one to process things internally, but that doesn't mean there's not horses and mules out
Right.
there doing the
Yep.
same thing. So number 4 is the need for predictability and routine. Now, if the only time we handle our animals' feet is right when the farrier comes, that's not a predictable routine. They need to have us doing this on a regular basis. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to go out there and spend 15 minutes a day picking up their feet, but maybe you need to go really work on getting their feet picked up every day.
And do it in the same, eventually you want to be able to do it anywhere. But if you're just starting out, bring that donkey to the same location and work with those feet. Don't wait till farrier day to bring your donkey out to a hitch rail that you've never used before because it's closer to the farrier's truck, and expect that donkey to behave the same way as it did back in the round pen. So like that contributes to consistency. Do it in the same spot.
I'm going to bring up this one for predictability and routine. There's been times where I have loaded up, 3 or 5 donkeys in the trailer, even, by myself, and I go up to the horse group. But here's something that I have done. I could clean their feet when I get there, because typically I clean their feet in the process of saddling. So I put the saddle on and I tighten it in three steps, right? And in between there, I'm cleaning their feet. But on this day that I'm thinking of, it was like a year or 2 ago, whatever it was, I had some donkeys that were kind of nervous, so I cleaned their feet before we left. Because I
Absolutely.
still wanted them to have the experience of me picking up their feet, but I knew the extra stimulation of where we were going was probably going to be too much of a trigger for them at
Yeah,
that
that
moment.
that's unfair expectations on those young donkeys. They're good with their feet standing in this spot in the training pen. They've been doing it good for 2 weeks or a month. Then to haul them somewhere strange with a lot of stimulation, kids on bicycles, dogs off leash, and strange smells and noises, and 15 other horse trailers, to then expect this green donkey to be able to calmly let you clean his feet. So it's very smart of MaryJo.
Now, could we clean their feet there? Yes, but that would be like the training mission, right? Because maybe I would need to give it a really long time, but I really want to saddle up and go to this competition or whatever I'm going to do.
Right. Yeah, you weren't on a training mission.
Right.
If you waited, it could have been a training mission and been no riding getting done because you've been working for an hour and a half getting donkey's feet clean.
Right? So set them up for success with that. Predictable and routine. We want to have that. We want them to totally know what to expect from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once they feel strong enough in our resume abilities, well, now they can handle unpredictable routines later on. Sensitivity to non-viewable cues is number 5. So they pick up on tension or if we're feeling like rushed or we have rushed energy from our handler, and staying calm and slow helps ease their anxiety. I see this a lot. If I go into the pen and I'm like, oh, I need to be done. I gotta go. I have an appointment. I have a meeting. Everything changes in that moment.
Yeah, I gotta check. I have 10 minutes. I gotta check this box, dot that I, and cross this T, and I've got 9 minutes left to do it. And the donkey's gonna pick up on that, and that it won't know why you're nervous, but it will contribute to difficulties.
Remember, a donkey can sense your heart rate from, I don't remember, I'm going off the top of my head, like 5 feet away or something like
yeah.
that. So when we have extra energy and we don't intend to, it totally affects them. And if you think they can't really sense that, have you ever walked into the house and somebody was having an argument? It was like you could cut the tension knife, like a butter knife,
Yeah.
right? Like that's real. They can feel that stuff. They're pros at feeling that stuff.
Absolutely. Same goes for when you're excited.
Yes.
Yeah, remember, and we see it here regularly, far too often. Old Sugar Cubes finally does it right, and you're like, woohoo! Yeah! Well, good job, Sugar Cubes. You're so smart. Oh! You just punish that donkey for doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
It doesn't know. Your donkey knows you're excited. You can be excited being chased by a grizzly bear, or you can be excited by winning a lottery. But to a donkey, they're taking in the same. They don't know if you're about to be chased by a grizzly bear if you won the lottery. They don't know. They don't understand it. They just know you got really excited about something, and it's what I just did made this human excited. So maybe next time I'll think twice or think longer before I do it.
Dan and I are very used to, because we've been doing this for a long time, right? Like he's like, what was I doing with the donkey? Is she blah blah blah? Is she doing this? And he's like, I know you can't answer right now, right? Because when they're doing that thing where they're getting enough curiosity and braveness to come do, whether I'm touching them or they're eating from my hand, any of that stuff, I can't look, I can't move my head. Not at first. Later on, we can do all that stuff.
Right.
But when you're first introducing this stuff, we need to go slow enough that we're building up their confidence and not taking it away from them. Number 6 is internal conflict between safety and fear. Remember, that's what a donkey is always wondering, am I safe?
Mm-hmm.
Or they're scared. And the same for horses. Like, not that a horse is always thinking about whether or not they're safe, but they do want to know that they're safe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. Give them a second to breathe. It's okay. When we're dealing with an animal that's processing things internally, it doesn't look the same as an animal who's going to try to answer your question 50 times in a row, even though they don't have a clue what you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
Their minds are constantly, they're assessing the risk. And if they go into freeze mode, or the horse might be more likely to go into the flight mode, right? Now we're beyond learning.
In the wild, a donkey is food. It's a prey animal. It gets eaten by things that eat meat, and that's a lot of things out in the wild. That freeze mode, that's part of. They're not a fight or flight animal. They're a fight or hide animal. That's their survival instinct. And when they freeze, they're motionless, so they can take in what's going on around them. And they're actually deciding, should I hide behind this rock, or am I going to have to turn and fight this bear? So there's a lot of thinking going on when they're froze. Mm-hmm. Not the kind of thinking that is good for the training. So it's very important, again, back off when they're locked up.
Yep. The more we can recognize all these little, I want to use the word nuances, like it's just so
I think that's the
minor.
right word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I approve of that word, nuance. That's a lot of syllables for this time of night.
All right, the last one, guys, number 7, is the importance of mental preparation. So, like the mammoth donkey that we were talking about, we hadn't put her feet on the farrier stand yet. We didn't mentally prepare her, so Dan said, nope, not today,
Yep,
right?
Not today. We're just going to not do it. Yep.
Now, training the mind ahead of time, that's when we're noticing, oh, I see that you're nervous, right? Okay, you're a little bit nervous, but now I want you to take a step. I want you to kind of like work through it. I want you to take your weight off from your foot, right? That's where it starts. Well, actually, no, it doesn't. It starts with the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Okay, we start with the countdown. But then if we wait for them to pick up their foot, we've asked too big of a question. When we're teaching them and preparing them, we want to reward them shifting their weight. And the reason we want to do that is we're saying, good job, you got the right answer. You're thinking about how to find the answer. You shifted your weight. It could be shifting the weight onto the foot. Mm-hmm. And even though you're shifting the weight onto the foot that I want you to pick up, you're still thinking about finding the answer. Now, we wouldn't keep releasing pressure, 10 times for putting the weight on the foot that we want. But we can absolutely be rewarding them trying to think through what the answer is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The more we can do that, the more our donkey is going to trust that we are predictable. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I can trust this person, right? They notice every little thing.
Oh, boy.
Because in the wild, they have to notice every little thing.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Yeah.
And it's only the ones that were successful at noticing all these little things that lived to reproduce. The ones who weren't careful got eaten.
Right.
And so when you're dealing with wild donkeys, you're dealing with the best of the best.
Can you guys hear dude? I hope you guys can hear that.
That's he sounds like either Sand People from Star Wars or he's saying Merry Christmas. I can't tell which.
I think he's saying Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas from California. Merry Christmas to you guys too. All right, guys. You guys know that we're here. We're going to be live tomorrow at 10 a.m. We're going to go earlier because of being Christmas Day.
10 a.m. Mountain Time.
Mountain Time. And today is day 48 of my 50-day Go Live Challenge. Now, if you guys want extra help, you know that we're here for you with memberships. We have members that are supporting what we're doing, and we thank you to the moon and back. And then we also have additional tiers that are going to help you with your journey, from extra videos that are very specific for what you're trying to do, all the way up to coaching one-on-one, whether it's bi-monthly or weekly. So check those out if you want some extra help. You guys have a great Christmas Eve. We're so glad that you joined us today.
Yeah, guys, thanks for stopping by. I sure appreciate it.
See you tomorrow.